AirPods and charge the AirPods up from the iPhone battery. So that's pretty cool. But they did hold back on one very key thing, and they saved it for the iPhone 15 Pro. So I'll get to that in a bit, but that's USB-C. Aside from that, really it's a slightly updated phone. It's a little bit of a new display. You know, you get the dynamic island here, of course, on these baseline iPhones, and there's also now a higher peak brightness, 2000 nits now, which is twice as bright as the iPhone 14s. And there's a new camera. The primary camera is now a 48 megapixel chip, presumably the same one that was in the iPhone 14 Pro last year, and all the benefits that come with that. And then the rest of the phone really follows that same formula. They do this thing where the new baseline phone is basically last year's Pro phone repackaged. So it inherits the same A16 Bionic chip from last year's Pro phone. The coolest feature of this phone is to switch it to portrait mode necessarily every time. And if you ever forget but want to add that blur later, you can do it with high quality results. So that's cool. Aside from that, the rest of the phone, I mean, it's the same thing, right? Same sizes, guys, same ceramic shield, same dust and water resistance, and same starting prices, $799 for the 15 and $899 for the 15 Plus. So then there is the Pro phones, the iPhone 15 Pro and 15 Pro Max. There is some more new here. A lot of it I'm actually gonna want to test just to see if it's actually what they say, but make sure you get subscribed to see those full reviews when they come out later this month, and we can figure out if the phones are worth it. But basically, it's not bleeding edge stuff that was inside. First of all, it's a brand new chip that's called the A17 Pro. It's the first time they've used the word Pro in an iPhone chip, and it's their first 3nm chip. So it promises some performance and efficiency improvements as a result. I think they said it's like 10% faster, high performance cores, and the neural engine's up to twice as fast, a bunch of other stuff. Not sure how much of this you'll actually notice in everyday use, but hey, future-proofing and headroom is never a bad thing, so this is clearly a powerful chip. They showed a demo of a game with like faster ray tracing, which isn't new, but you know, it helped make their point. But the interesting thing to note here with Pro iPhone's USB-C port actually gets upgraded USB 3 speeds, the faster data transfer speeds, up to 10 gigabits per second. But the base iPhones without that controller, they get USB-C. USB-C port, but the base iPhones without that controller, they get USB-C, but they're going to be stuck at USB 2.0 speeds, basically the same we've always had with Lightning, like 480 megabits per second. Now this probably won't make a real difference. Most people are fawning over at the moment with the Pros, so they have switched the rails from that shiny fingerprinty stainless steel to this new grade 5 titanium alloy with a brushed texture, and it's nice. It is, first of all, it's noticeably lighter in the hand, which I love, and it seems like it's also enabled them to shrink the body of the Pro iPhones just a little bit. So they have the same screen sizes, but the screens now get even closer to the edges, and there's even thinner, slightly thinner bezels, and I actually do notice that. Now, a lot of people are also quoting strong. New colors are black, white, and this new blue, which is really subtle, and then natural, which I guess it kind of embraces the raw titanium feel. Reminds me of Starlight, if you're curious, kind of like this warm tone. Weirdly, I think I like it the most. But also something else Apple said on stage, small button, basically about the same size as the switch, and by default, it actually behaves just like the mute switch did. So you actually hold it down to switch between muted or ringer on. Great. But if you dive into the settings, there's actually a section for this action button, and it's actually really in-depth and super solid. It basically lets you go through and pick the function of the button, and there's way more here than I expected. So you can keep the mute switch on, or you can have it switch you in and out of a certain focus mode, like Do Not Disturb, or you could pick whichever other one you want. You could also have it auto-launch the camera and pick whichever camera mode it opens. You could also do flashlight turning on, or opening up voice memos, or it can toggle the magnifier. Or the last option actually is you can have it trigger a Siri shortcut, which, as you know, can technically do almost anything, including basically launching any app on your phone. I think there may be a bit of a delay from the button press to the app opening, if I'm thinking about this correctly, like it's done in the past, but I'll have to test that for the full review. But theoretically, you can map this button to open whatever, your calendar app, your to-do list app, whatever app you want, which is totally not what I expected to be on the list of things you could do with a new button on the side of the iPhone. But now you can. But then last but not least, the new cameras across the board here. There's a new larger 48 megapixel main sensor for the Pros, an improved ultra wide, and then the Pro Max, just the Pro Max, gets a new intricate folding 5x telephoto camera. I'm guessing if I asked Apple, they would say that there was only enough room in the bigger Pro Max to fit this